Tim Healey is the Red Sox beat writer for the Boston Globe. He's in Orlando, where I have lived, and that's no picnic. Very dangerous, especially International Boulevard, where they might be. Tim Healey, hello. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Hello to you guys. Thank you for having me.
Okay. So first of all, let's go back in time a little bit. We never talked to you, I don't think, about this. The Sonny Gray deal. What do you think of Sonny Gray?
He's good. He's a good starting pitcher. Is he the number 2, or better yet, the number 1B starting pitcher behind Garrett Crochet? No. He would be an underwhelming answer if he indeed is that at opening day or after the trade deadline. So I'm staying open-minded to the Red Sox making another starting pitching addition there, maybe move around some of the other guys. So Sonny Gray is good. He's a good pitcher. I have no interest in arguing that, but I just think if he is the number 2, just sort of an underwhelming answer on that.
See, I disagree. I think that he's a perfectly good starting number 2 pitcher. I think he'll pitch. I think he'll be healthy. The way he pitches is very professional. You know, he don't throw hard. No one pushed back, which I enjoy. But when I saw him pitching the final game, his final start of spring training, he was throwing in the high 80s. But that I like that because it shows he's a technician. I think that he's going to pitch in the playoffs. He will be healthy, and he's every bit as capable as anyone besides a complete stud to get you a victory in the playoffs. I don't mind that move at all. I think they gave up a lot for him, but if you're looking to win now, I like that Sonny Gray move, but that's me. All right, anyway.
I agree.
Go ahead.
I agree with basically everything you said, except the evaluation. But what does that matter?
If they got Ryan from Minnesota, obviously that's a lot better, right? Like like if they got Skubal, which I want to talk about in a second, obviously that's great. And you have two of the best pitchers in baseball. You look like you'll be a juggernaut. But in the world of reality, where you're not the Dodgers, I think Sonny Gray is. Look, I don't think it's a home run, but I think people were way too hard on that deal. I think that you got a guy that was an opening day starter and a good pitcher, and he's not your opening day starter. And for that, and if I'm Sonny Gray, I'd want to be the number 2 starter. I don't think he wants to be the number 3 starter, which is good. But anyway, all right, so you're down there in Orlando, and I do want to get to this. There's reporting that the Skubal deal is done.
Yeah, Tim, do you know of a guy named David Pingalore from KTLA in Los Angeles?
Obviously you do.
Well, the reason I bring this up is he's the only one reporting this.
You've had dinner with him, correct?
So I did not know him until I was doing a little Twitter scrolling before falling asleep last night and thought, what is going on here?
Yeah, it's great. It's great for baseball. Okay, so does that seem like it's going to happen? So the idea, I don't know what the return would be. It would have to be insanity. But and I don't blame the Tigers for dealing him. I'm not paying Skubal that much money. He's great, but I'm not paying a starting pitcher that much money for that long. First of all, do you agree with that, Tim? How much money would you give a starter in the major leagues that he's not going to be around the whole contract? He might be around, but he's not pitching every year. How do you feel about that?
If I were the Red Sox and I had my ace in his prime on a pretty reasonable contract, I would not sign Skubal for $350 or $400 million or whatever it's going to be around this time next year. So if I'm the Red Sox, I would not do that. If I was some other desperate team that didn't have an ace that could spend money, I would at least consider it. But you do have to go into it thinking exactly as you said, the back end is going to be ugly, and there might be a year or two in there where he's not pitching much or at all. That's just part of the deal now in baseball, unfortunately. So you have to go into it with eyes wide open.
I'll just give you. Do you think the Garrett Cole deal was a good deal for the Yankees?
That's a great question because that's the exact comp, set a record when he signed it. I think it has so far been a good deal. And the problem with these contracts so often is the back end of it. And when teams get into such a contract, they swallow their pride, swallow their dollars, and know that the last few years.
Well, he didn't pitch last year, though. Like Cole,
no, he didn't. No, but he's been great.
Yeah, but
he was great until he blew out.
Yeah, but
and then
Skubal will be great. Will be great, and then he'll miss a year, and then he might be good, really good again, and then like you said, then the back end. It's like it's just that you're giving a guy a contract where you know he's going to miss a year of the prime of it. Like that's it. There's no way you can pitch at the major league level, throw that hard, and throw that many pitches without getting hurt. Like you just are. Unless you're Nolan Ryan or something, or Roger Clemens, like you're just some freak. And maybe Crochet. I know he falls apart at the end of the season, but he's a moose. But what does that leave open? So now if you're the Red Sox, you go offense here. You pivot offense, right? Or what do you do?
Well, acquiring hitters right now is definitely the priority for the Red Sox. They're in good enough shape pitching-wise that if and when another starting pitcher comes, they can be opportunistic and get to that if an opportunity presents itself. For now, the focus is on the offense, the lineup, and I can't tell you how close they are to actually adding somebody, but they're talking about virtually every option there is, from Alex Bregman and Pete Alonso, or potentially both, to the trade market of Ketel Marte, Brandon Donovan, Corey Seager, even has come up in their talks. So they're canvassing a wide search, suffice to say. And it's kind of funny because this week's the winter meetings, everybody's here. There's a lot of talk about what the Red Sox could do or might do or have considered doing, but they haven't actually done anything yet on the hitting front. So it's still a wait and see situation ultimately.
Let's get into Alonso. Do you want him?
I think he would be a perfect fit for this roster. I would not give him the 6 or 7 years that he's looking for, but I would give him, for sure 3, definitely 4, maybe even 5 if that's what it took.
He's so annoying.
But
he's annoying.
He's a right-handed bat, and I know home runs and RBIs aren't the sexiest stats for front office these days, but he's good for 35 to 40 home runs, 100-plus RBIs. He's going to be, or would be, that bat in the middle of the lineup that Craig Breslow talks about. You have to pitch around him, and that impacts all the other hitters around him. So he's a good fit. I don't think the Red Sox prefer him in a vacuum over Alex Bregman.
Yeah, let's get into Bregman, because Bregman's interesting to me because by all accounts he was so important in the clubhouse, which I'm not dismissing. I think that's great, and he was obviously, I think, based on the performance of the team, he was instrumental in that, even behind the scenes. But that's not a bat that I am overly comfortable with the performance I'm going to get as this contract goes on, even starting kind of right away. How do you weigh those two things? Importance to the team based on necessarily living up to the contract in terms of performance?
So that is part of what Craig Breslow and company are sorting through right now. What sort of deal, or really what length of deal, is Alex Bregman, Pete Alonso, anybody worth? And part of that depends on their market. I don't know exactly who else is super in on Alex Bregman right now. The Tigers sound like they're not.
Tigers want a shortstop, it sounds like. They're pivoting to shortstop. That's what I've heard. Okay, but I don't know. Go ahead.
Maybe the Cubs, but they're in a position of power there because they're not desperate for a third baseman. So how will Alex Bregman's next contract age? Depends on how long it is, and how long it is depends on how many teams want him. And the number does not seem super high right now. So if the Red Sox do want them back, which they do, he is their top priority, it seems, on the hitter front, then they don't need to overextend themselves and give him 5 or 6 years if nobody else is.
Tim, Craig Breslow has talked a great game ever since he's gotten the job. I mean, and he said it again yesterday. You know, he's going to be aggressive and decisive, but based on the Red Sox spending habits over the last 5 or 6 years and his performance at the trade deadline last year while talking a big game, should Red Sox fans believe him this time around?
I think, to me, it's not about believing or not believing. I would just wait and see what happens, see where the payroll ends up. And they're going past the first luxury tax threshold, and that's a given at this point. The big question is if they will go past the second threshold, which comes with no additional penalties other than a slightly higher tax on every dollar over the second threshold. So really, I mean, who am I to spend somebody else's money? I am not a millionaire, not a billionaire. But to me, the luxury tax issue is just money.
No, but that's important that there's no additional penalties, because that's what I think the first pushback was, and that was that was at least the Red Sox answer to everyone who would just say, just spend the money. You've got the money. They said, no, it's not just about the money. There's all this other stuff that you can incur, but that second threshold, that doesn't apply.
Yeah, and if you get like super high, like into Dodgers Mets territory, it starts to impact your draft position and your international money, and like that stuff. Okay, I get if you want to keep building from within, of course, and all that good stuff. But the second threshold, if you're going past the first, go past the second. That's what I think. But we'll see how comfortable they are. I do think there's a chance, but as I understand it, it would take some creative accounting, quote unquote, as far as, deferrals and buyouts and how that AAV sorts out on any medium to long-term deal.
For all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.